Hey guys, welcome back to more malicious compliance stories. In this video, my boss framed me for SA and then fired me. However, she actually ended up losing everything. Let's dive right into the video. The title story starts like this. Well, I have a hell of a story that I want to share that happened to me almost 2 years ago at this point. I work at a tech company and I was working back then as just a coder. I had been with the company for 5 years and honestly, I was really happy with my job. I had benefits, decent pay, and actually easygoing staff. No coworker drama or issues with bosses wanting a bunch of extra hours or not letting me take my vacation or any of those typical issues people have with jobs. Things changed a little bit once I got a new boss, a female, which honestly I thought was pretty cool because in tech there's clearly a gender division with most of us being men. I had no bad feelings for having to work under a woman, unlike some other men I know. She knew her stuff and on a fully technical standpoint was a good boss. Projects were getting sent in on time and for a few months nothing big was happening. Then she started showing interest in me that I was trying to ignore. She would want to have conversations with me more than anybody else and asking me questions about my personal life. Asking me if I went to the gym because I looked like I was somebody who lifted weights. I wanted to believe so badly that I was just imagining it was flirting and she was just being nice to me. The company did have a very strict policy regarding dating. They would prefer it if no real relationships happened in the workplace at all because it could cause a lot of problems. They did not actually say that people could not date each other, but there was one big rule if you were going to do it. You could not be in a relationship with somebody on a different manager level than you, for very obvious reasons too. I feel like most companies don't want to allow people to date their boss. The flirting only got worse over time though, and I guess she thought I was not picking up on it because she was laying it on even thicker. Asking me very casually if I wanted to come see a movie with her or a cup of coffee. When she came to my station to see my work, she would lean very close to my face and I was starting to get uncomfortable. For her requests, I was declining but making sure that I was very polite about it. The last thing I wanted to do was yell at my boss or cause a problem that might be nothing. Because again, part of me wanted to believe she just wanted to be friendly and hang out. I think I was lying to myself more than anything else. Once the rejections on my part started, that is when things really started to ramp up in the weird department. I guess she finally realized that I was not interested in her, so she decided to try and personally punish me for it. I would send in my work for a project and then she would without fail come to me about 20 minutes later. She would then very loudly and publicly tell me how I was messing up in my work and that I did it wrong. I would then have to fix the issue in my code. An issue that she placed in there just in order to make me look stupid in front of everybody else. She would start cutting me off when I would answer questions from others working on the same project to tell them something totally wrong. Again, she was not incompetent, so she was messing up my work on purpose. Others noticed she was acting too and just thought that she was trying to assert herself as maybe a no-nonsense boss. Which, I mean, I kind of understand the best that I can as a man, women bosses needing to come off more serious to be taken seriously in a STEM type of field. The most whiplash part of it was that all during this period, she was still randomly flirting with me and asking me out. I did not realize until I thought back on it that maybe she was giving me a chance to fix things. Like if I said yes, then the workplace harassment would stop. Maybe to some degree I'm a bit of a stupid guy that doesn't understand women, but in my defense I don't think I should be expected to understand this level of crazy. That is when she went from being like a 4 on the crazy scale to a total 10. She decided to create a very good deepfake AI video that painted me in a horrible light. It was meant to look like it came from security footage from an apartment building or something. I don't want to go into graphic details. Basically, in this video it shows me attacking and SAing her. The things that fake me did in the video were horrific and then she leaked the video to the entire office. As soon as the video was seen by everybody, she went into total victim mode, crying and being so upset that now everybody knew what happened to her. The place was total chaos and I was only at work for about 15 minutes until I was sent home, pending a formal investigation. At this point I was close to crapping my pants. If people would believe this video, then for all I knew, police could too. I would lose my job and my reputation would forever be ruined. You cannot come back from something like this, and when any future job looked me up, they would find this whole scandal. Not to mention going potentially to prison for an SA that never actually happened. I was told to just wait for HR to contact me with more information. Waiting in this kind of situation is nearly impossible. I don't think I even slept for 3 days until I was contacted by them. I was told to not contact my boss, which I mean, yeah, everyone now thinks I attacked or the supervisor above her, only to speak through email to HR with the knowledge that anything I said would be told to the people running the investigation. The good news was that at this point I'd been able to watch the video a few times, and trust me when I say I didn't want to, but I was just trying to find a way to help prove myself innocent. Then I realized that the day she claimed that I did this during the break, I was not even in the city. I emailed HR telling them and giving them evidence that I was at a family event in a different city during the time of this happening. I was able to show photos of me being there and Facebook screenshots that had me posting them the exact same day and even the day before. Also, I told them of all the issues that I was having between her flirting and asking me out to even changing my code just to reprimand me in front of people. I was basically told they would take this into consideration, and I was back to waiting. What I did not know was that my overall supervisor that knew me for these 5 years was leading the investigation and knew that something did not seem right here. He also felt like something was off about the video, and what I found out way later was that he noticed the height difference between me and boss in the video, and in real life it didn't make sense. Now, I'm a short guy at 5'5" and she's actually a couple inches shorter than that. In the video though, I'm much taller than her to the point it doesn't even make sense. It was the first clue to show the video was a fake, and he also ended up getting access to the boss's email account and saw that she had an email to an IT contractor outside our company. Very odd. Looking into it, you could see her asking him to construct a video and that she would provide the details of it over the phone because she was embarrassed by the content. I guess this guy just assumed that she was into some weird stuff. A digital expert was brought in to analyze the video even further and found more instances of it clearly being AI and altered. Very small details like the shoe sizes looking wrong and some random background things. Now the boss was in the hot seat instead of me and had some questions to answer, big ones being why she couldn't give the address of the apartment so that we could get access to the security footage ourselves. Another reason being why she didn't want to get the police involved and have me arrested. Her only request was that I get fired. She couldn't come up with any answers. Meanwhile, I was at home not knowing anything that was going on and felt like maybe hiring a lawyer would be a good idea. Again, for all I knew at this point, I could be going to prison or something. The lawyer promised to check in about the investigation, which is how I found out the above stuff. What he also did was look into the boss's past. She had worked for 2 other companies before, and while on paper it was said that she left because it wasn't a good fit, there were HR reports against her. All of them from men claiming that she was flirting and making them uncomfortable. This felt like a jackpot kind of situation for me to show that she was crazy and I did not hurt anybody. HR finally got back to me and told me that I was cleared to come back into the office and would not be receiving any disciplinary measures. Luckily, they also made sure to let all the other employees know the video was fake and that I had done nothing. I was glad to not get the looks that I got the morning the video dropped, the looks I was some monster. Boss was fired, but unlike her, my supervisor wanted to go to the police. He told them what happened and that the company was pressing charges against her for falsely reporting and apparently for evidence tampering. Yeah, once she was caught, she tried to wipe her system to show that the video was not leaked by her. She was caught before she could pull that one off though, and my supervisor couldn't stop apologizing to me and promising that none of this would end up hurting my career with the company. I did not blame him and told him that he was just doing his job, and honestly, I was glad he took a claim like that seriously. It meant that he was being a good supervisor. My now ex-boss was facing criminal charges and did not want to just go down without a fight. She argued the charges were wrong and that the video was in fact real, despite what the internal investigation said. The company handed over everything they had related to it so the police could see it for themselves. It was all done by the book, along with proof that the video she was gonna show them was fake. She had to pay restitution to the company for being in breach of contract for things she did during that entire period of time. I luckily lost no money and was paid for those days I was forced to stay home while they investigated. She also now has a criminal record against her, so even when she gets out, finding work would be hard. And my supervisor was right about it not affecting anything, because a year later, with another spotless record, I was promoted to what her job originally was. They hired somebody else that wasn't just a good fit, and then I got the job. I was thrilled to have it and wanted to make sure that I was gonna be a better boss than she ever was. I wanted to implement better workplace policies because of what happened to me as well, and while the company didn't do anything wrong, I felt a couple changes would make things better. To make it easier and more knowing that you can go talk to supervisor or HR if you are having a problem with another person. And also to open the lines of communication better if there's a problem, because that waiting was the worst thing I ever had to experience. The last thing I want to mention was something that made me remember all this and want to make a post. So about 2 weeks ago, I was looking through profiles for potential hires in entry positions, and her name and photo popped up and I nearly fell out of my chair. Of course I was not gonna hire her, but the best part was that I was able to look at her resume. Her jobs post-prison was all just retail or fast food that lasted less than 2 months. She could not hold or keep a job, and I know I may sound nasty saying this, but I smiled when I saw that. I sent an email telling her that she was not a fit for this company, making sure to sign my name in the email with the full job title. And yeah guys, if you enjoy the malicious compliance / pro-revenge business stories, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel because it would mean a lot to me. The next one is another malicious compliance story. When I was in high school, far longer ago than I care to admit, I was a beggar at a local grocery store. One of the policies of the store was that we had to offer help to everyone to take their groceries out to their car. Anytime someone elderly or someone with a lot of bags came through the line, I would offer to help, and many of them accepted. There were a lot of parents with kids that turned down the help because they would make their clones help instead. I quickly learned who was gonna accept the offer and who wasn't, and so if they fit the criteria for not being interested in help, I did not even bother to ask. They always refused, so why keep asking? Well, one day, my manager is hovering while I'm begging, and a lady brought a carton of eggs and a loaf of bread. I smiled and wished her a nice day, handing her the single featherweight bag, and she smiled and returned the greeting, and then was on her way. My manager noticed, and I did not offer to help her out, and scolded me, and I just pointed out that she had one partially filled bag that was super light, so probably would not even have needed help. He emphasized it was store policy and I need to offer help to everyone. The next guy in the line was definitely a gym rat, a foot taller than me, biceps as big as my head, a tight tank top and basketball shorts. It's been so long I cannot even remember what he bought, but it occupied a single bag and it was not heavy. I double-bagged it still in front of my hovering manager and said, "Sir, would you like me to help you carry all of your groceries out to your car?" He was laughing, but I was not laughing, and his expression changed to utter confusion. He looked at me like I just asked him what shampoo he used on his armpit hair. It was 95% confusion, 5% suspicion at what game I could be playing with him. He looked at my manager with a new look that said, "Is this kid okay?" And then turned back to me, still chuckling a little bit in confusion, and said, "Oh no man, I think I got it." He took his bag of protein powder and eggs, or whatever it actually was, and walked out, shaking his head. I looked at my manager and shrugged. His expression read as, "Yeah, alright, fine." And he went back to the office. He never hovered or enforced a policy again after that. Like I said, super mild and short compared to a lot of posts on here, but it was my first case of malicious compliance, so hopefully you guys got a laugh out of it as well. And by the way, since a lot of people asked, it was not Publix or Safeway, it was a very small local chain of grocery stores, and the one I worked at closed a decade ago. This one is titled, "They hired someone new instead of promoting me, and now I have no motivation to work." So it's been a few months now since this happened, but I cannot get past it, and I guess I just want to get this off my chest in hopes that it will help me get over it, and here we go. So I've been working at the same company for over 6 years. The company is medium-sized, I would say, and at the time I was hired, we did not have a marketing department. With time, the company grew, and after 1 year of working there, they offered that I be the one to kickstart the marketing department, and I accepted. For 2 years, I was the only person in the marketing department. I did everything all by myself. I knew how everything worked, and I kept my numbers and quality high, that my manager even asked my boss to give me a bonus for my hard work. As the company grew, the work became too much for just one person, so they gave me a team. We were now 4 in total. I trained and pretty much led the team, but the thing is, my title never went past marketing agent. I thought that with all the things I'm doing, I would at least get marketing manager by now. Well, I expressed this to my manager, who said that they'll see what can be done. Months passed and my title remained the same, but then in a meeting with my manager one day, they told me that our boss is thinking that there should be a marketing team lead on the team. They said that they think it's gonna be me, as I started off the department, trained everyone, have the most knowledge and have been in the company for 6 years now. Obviously, I got excited hearing that and I patiently waited for boss to finally drop the news to me. However, the news ended up being that they were looking for a marketing team lead. And they decided to hire externally. I cannot even put into words the way I felt. Even now I still feel like I've been punched in the gut. It feels so unfair and humiliating. I was the first person in the marketing department. I have the most experience. Why would you hire someone with 0 experience instead? Well, I asked my manager why I was not considered for it, and their response basically was just, "Boss just couldn't see you being a team lead." Hearing that seriously killed my self-esteem and made me feel even more humiliated. They eventually hired the person to take on the team lead role, and what made me want to slam my head against a wall is that they made me train them on everything I knew. Listen, the new team lead is a nice person, and I really don't want to hate them because it's not their fault, but my bitterness is just so strong, I don't even want to interact with them unless I need help. So now I'm stuck being the marketing agent forever, I guess. But what really drove me to write this on Reddit is the new team member. One person on the team left and was replaced with someone else who just started last month. The team lead is on vacation, so I was the one asked to train the new hire. As I was training them, we talked and I told them a little about myself, about how I started the department and everything. Then they said, "So all that just to not be team lead?" And that honestly just pissed me off. I don't know if it's their wording, their tone, or the look of pity on their face that got to me, but I just shut down. I laughed it off, finished up with training, and just barely worked the whole day. And the day after that, even now, I feel like my numbers are lower than usual. My quality definitely dropped, but I just cannot care anymore. I know I could just quit, but this company's benefits are amazing, and I've made so many friends here that would make leaving so hard. Traveling for work every few months allowed me to see different cities and take in new experiences. However, I just cannot get past this and I don't know if I ever will. I might just go through the days until I really just cannot do it anymore. If you've read up until this point, thanks for your time. And now we got an update to this story. I just want to thank you all for your advice. You've all been very helpful and you've all given me the confidence to send my resume to other companies for a team lead or manager position. I'll be sending my resume to more as they pop up. The market is terrible right now, but I'm pretty confident. Now I just have to act like normal in this current position until I hear from one of them. Wish me luck. For those wondering how I trained the new team lead, well, I did not teach them everything I knew. Hell no. I taught them enough to do their job, but when it comes to the deeper knowledge, I held back. I personally just thought it was the smartest decision for me, as teaching them all I knew wouldn't have benefited me at all. It is up to my company to teach them everything else, not keep relying on me. When I was asked to train the new hire, I did mention that I shouldn't train them if we have a team lead. But the boss hit back saying that I would be responsible if the team fell behind if we waited until the team lead got back from vacation. I didn't want to cause stress for the rest of the team and myself, so I stupidly complied. I did consider threatening to leave if I didn't get the team lead role, but I held back because I was afraid of the response. I was afraid they would have just let me go and I'd be left unemployed without a backup job, especially considering the job market right now. But I guess my pride also played a part in it. I really wanted to be given the team lead role because they believed in me and wanted to give it to me, not because I threatened them, but I also do quite like my job. So I thought I could just suck it up, but it's really not worth the mental suffering. And another update to this story, so I got a job as marketing team lead. I just finished week 3. The market is rough right now, but I'm glad I didn't give up and just kept applying. My new job's a little challenging, but my mental health is in a better place now, knowing that I could finally fully let go of that grudge. If you're in a similar situation, don't lose hope. When I gave in my notice, I would just pay to see the look on my boss's face again when I told them I was leaving for a marketing team lead job. They tried to salary match, but I declined. They asked what they could do to keep me, but I kept it polite and just said that it was time for me to experience more in a different role now. I could tell they were really pissed, but I couldn't care less. And then apparently, they talked smack about me to the manager, that I was betraying them and all that BS. It is so embarrassing. Of course, before I left, I asked my manager what I needed to improve on to be a better team lead, so I can do even better in my new role. I was told things like be a little more strict, have more confidence, and other things I made sure to write down to work on. And I know it's been months, but I still wanted to ask again why I was passed up the promotion at this company. So apparently it's because they made it so that the team lead did more admin work, more team reports, team evaluations, team decisions, and coming up with new procedures and less marketing. Apparently, since I'm the most senior with consistent results, they did not want to lose that by making me team lead. So then they figured keeping me as a marketing agent was the smartest move for the company. I fully understand their decision, but screw that. I feel like I'm actually doing what a team lead should be doing in my new company, and that's all I really wanted. It just feels like they're still trying to figure out what a team lead should do, and I'm not willing to stick around for that again. Thank you again everyone for encouraging me to look for another job. I got way too comfortable in my last job that I allowed them to walk all over me. You are not handcuffed to a certain company forever. It's okay to leave when you feel there's no more growth for you. Have a great one, everyone. And before we end the video, we will read the story from r/petty revenge. It is titled, "He hurt me for years, his chair got what was coming." So about 10 years ago, I broke up with my abusive ex-boyfriend. After the breakup, it hit me, no pun intended, just how messed up the whole relationship really was. It took breaking up with him to stop being numb and actually feel rage. I had gone full no contact, so there was no way I was ever gonna tell him how I felt, but he still worked at the same office. Yeah, that was fun. So then, one evening, I was walking past his office after everyone had left, and there it was, his chair. I don't know how, but I needed to pee on it. I might have been a bit unhinged, I'm not gonna lie, but I peed on it. I did it 3 times that week. Every time I walked past his room and saw him sitting in that chair, it made me feel a little bit better inside. He had very long days, so he was sitting in my pee for about 12 hours a day. P.S. The fun only lasted about 2.5 weeks because the whole office moved and all the desks and chairs were thrown away, so no innocent coworker had to sit on it. And yeah, someone on Reddit made a very funny pun, which said, "Should have left a message, urine for a surprise." And yeah guys, thank you for watching, I will see you again tomorrow.